Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. We are only about a month away from March Madness, conference tournaments, the NCAA tournament, wall-to-wall basketball, morning, noon, and night. If you always do that up special with friends, I got some friends that go together as a group to Las Vegas every year for this. I got another group that used to always go to the Southern Conference tournament. They would all go together and just do it every year. That was their thing. If you do that with your friends, you can make it even more special by renting a cabin in the Smokies. Parkside Cabin Rentals has cabins with big 4K TVs, hot tubs, pool table, you name it. They got it all. ParksideCabinRentals.com to pick your cabin. Better do it quick, though. But, man, what a great way to just watch the first round of the NCAA tournament or that conference championship week. You're kicked back, and it's just game after game while you're sitting in a hot tub in the Smokies. Parkside Cabin Rentals. All right, let's welcome in the next member of our panel right over there, Bob Hodge. Bob, thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Appreciate you for joining us, and let's go ahead and get you, the fan, involved. We're going to talk a little football later in the show. So here's the poll question for today. As of right now, which do you feel better about? Two things Tennessee's never done. One, you feel better about Tennessee basketball's Final Four chances this year, or do you feel better about Tennessee football's playoff chances this year? Final Four for basketball or playoff for football? Tennessee's never done either one. Which one do you feel more confident in? You can check the, get your smartphone, use the QR code right there, and vote for us. Right now, basketball is winning. 67% of you say you feel better about the Final Four chances. And then if you can't use the smartphone thing, then you can go to sportsource.tv/polls, or just go to the website and you'll see polls up there. Click on it and join us that way. Give us your take on that, if you will. I always like keeping track of these things and knowing what the fans think. All right. Tennessee sitting on top of the SEC standings with a 5-1 record right now. Alabama tied with them. Let's take a look at the SEC titles that Tennessee has won in their history, if we can get that. There we go. They have 10 of them in history. The last one, 2017, 2018. Not a lot of those were outright titles. 2007, 2008, which Mark was a part of that staff. You go back to 1999, 2000. Isaiah Victor, who's often with us, couldn't make it today. He was on that team. But you look at it, according to Bracket Matrix, on top of that, so there's your SEC titles, all right? On top of that, Bracket Matrix is a website that goes through 80 different bracket projections, and they combine them, and they've got Tennessee as the 5th overall seed in the tournament right now, which means you are the next spot up for a 1 seed. The top 4 teams all get a 1 seed. You are 1 spot away from getting a 1 seed for the first time in school history. So here's my question. What's more important for the Tennessee basketball program, Bob Hodge? Is it winning another SEC basketball title, conference championship, what you play for?
Yeah.
Or is it getting a number 1 seed in the tournament, something your program's never gotten, and maybe setting yourself up for a deeper tournament run, which is Rick Barnes' bugaboo? Which is more important, number 1 seed or title?
I'm going to go with number 1 seed.
I thought I was going to be the only one. Okay, I don't even have to make my case.
I think the SEC title these days it's irrelevant. The SEC tournament title is irrelevant, unless I think the reason it's big around here is because for years you went into the SEC tournament that was your only way of getting into the NCAA
right.
tournament. So I just think it all, until you get to the NCAA tournament, everything else before that's just kind of like interesting, but it doesn't matter. Give me the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I'm going to take the SEC tournament, especially with this world of college basketball.
You're going to take the SEC title over the number 1 seed.
Over the number 1 seed. The college basketball world's weird this year in that it's like compressed down a little bit. There's no elite team right now. I don't know that the difference in the quality of team you're going to play this season, if you're a 1 seed or a 2 seed, is really that big of a difference right now. So you're going to play the 7 seed or the winner of the 8-9 game? I don't know that matters that much. It's like a million teams with between 4 and 6 losses in college basketball right now that seem to be about the same level of quality. So you've, twice this millennium you have won the SEC? Yeah, give me the SEC title.
I think the other caveat for me on the seeding would be, what region do they get in? Do they get to a play? If they're the last 4, if they're the last 1 seed, now does that mean you're playing further away from your fan base, which doesn't allow them to travel, as opposed to if you're the number 1, 2 seed, you're typically going to be closer to your fan base, which then allows you to travel. I would actually take the 1 seed. I think the 1 seed, because this is a tournament sport. What's interesting about the SEC tournament at the end of the year, I think that's going to end up being like bowl games, where they're almost
Yeah.
become irrelevant.
Yeah.
Why should the
Unless
best
you're
players
that team
play?
that needs that to
Correct.
get into the NCAA
Oh,
tournament.
Tennessee finally won the thing a few years ago, then lost a week later in the NCAA tournament, and no one cared about the SEC tournament.
Correct.
That was gone. It was just vapor.
Yeah, I do think, but Will makes a great point. I do think parity in basketball does make the number one seeding less of importance. But I think that's where I go back to that little nuance of where can your fan base get you to the location.
The reason I would want the number one seed, and I can't believe you're the only guy. I thought I was going to be on Lonely Island, but you're on Lonely Island. The reason I like the number one seed, you've never done it before.
Yeah.
You will have cracked another barrier. Rick Barnes would have
Yes.
broken through another barrier. And I think that, national recruits look at Tennessee in a different way now that Barnes has been here. He has built them to that level. Now, if you're seeing them unveiled on the one line, that's another, it helps beat home the fact that Tennessee is now one of those programs. Tennessee is one of those teams. Not only are they always top 10, not only do they sign 5 stars, not only do they churn guys into the NBA, now they're in the mix for 1 seeds. I think, to me, that is a program calling card.
Yes.
Busts through another barrier.
It goes down in history, whereas 2 years from now, nobody will remember an SEC regular season.
I had a question. Who won the SEC title 3 years ago?
Oh, I have no idea. It's an ice cream cone, right? To your
Alabama.
point, it's an ice cream cone. It tastes great for 5 seconds, and then it melts in your hand. And
Right,
nobody
you better
remembers
win in
it.
the tournament. Yeah.
But I would also say a 1 seed's kind of like that too, unless you make that run in the tournament. And this year specifically, I don't believe a 1 seed versus a 2 seed is really going to matter that much as far as what kind of tournament.
I
run
think
you
on
make.
1 seeds like that at Kentucky, North Carolina, or Duke, here it's different. Because just like John said, you've never had it. I mean, it's just sort of, if this team ever gets past the Elite Eight, you've never had, even if you go to the Final Four and get clubbed, you've never been there before. So I think that's what makes it a little bit different.
Tennessee's not even used to the number 2 seeds. If you remember, it was the year before you got here. Bruce Pearl's first year here, they got the number 2
Yeah.
seed, and they catch him live. It's the team watching on television. Holy, and he said it, and they didn't believe it. I mean, it was right there for all to see, and I think that's where this program is. If they get a number 1 seed, I think that lifts you again. All right, guys, appreciate it. When we come back, big week for the Volunteers. Carolina comes here on Tuesday. You go to Kentucky on Saturday. We'll get a quick scouting report from Mark Pancratz. We'll give you bracketology. Then we're on to football and quarterbacks and you name it. Come on back on the Sports Source.